Chris Crawford and Paul Topolos, and we're in the first bonus level, Death Star Escape. And one of the main things, or the main thing in the whole level, is the cockpit here, because there's not much else on screen. But in general, there are these really, really high polygon models in the whole game. So what's the problem, or how long does it take to create one of these cockpits?
I think what Bastian Hoppe took, it was a couple weeks, I think. But it was just finding good reference material and just being, it was a pretty big task because it was 3 big paintings, the largest kind of paintings that we could have in the game, plus a whole lot of geometry and just a whole lot of buttons and illumination maps, and then we figured out that we needed to put some bump maps in there as well.
Yeah. What's the was there controversy, because obviously Rogue Squadron had cockpits, Battle for Naboo didn't have cockpits. So early on, was there right away everybody was settled on cockpits, or?
Well, to me, it's the cockpits make a huge difference. I mean, they did on the original Rogue Squadron. I mean, I think that the fact that we were able to pull off so many so quickly, I thought was really a good testament to our modelers.
Yeah. What's the special trick about making a cockpit or a Star Wars model, maybe in general, because in the cockpits you probably have the best examples of that, to look like classic Star Wars?
I think mainly the big thing is to tell a story, a visual story of how these things have been used. I mean, it's not like Star Trek or 2001, which have a very sterile feeling to it. I think part of the biggest thing is to give some sort of logical sense that the thing's been used, and just sort of beat the pants off of it with scratch marks and paint scraping off and all that kind of stuff, which I think is very unique to Star Wars, where it feels like a real world, very livable.
How do you avoid the 70s cheap look, the Space 1999?
Well, I thought, to me, the funniest thing was looking back at the reference and seeing that there was some cheese there. I mean, you look at Vader's TIE Fighter, and it is, like Florian said, it was 70s stereo parts. It was knobs and things, and I think that's one of the interesting things about the game, is that looking back at the reference, that there was some pretty cheap stuff. But it's not how people remember it, and so for us to do some stuff traditionally the way it was, it does look a little bit 70s-ish.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that one reference shot from the Y-wing where you see the bubble wrap all over the place in the cockpit.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, but it somehow just works.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to Chris Crawford and the level here. It's just gunning down stuff. How do you create one of that levels?
Well, actually, the cockpit itself is just sitting out in space. There isn't actually a Millennium Falcon out there at all. It's strictly just the cockpit. And then I basically put all the TIE fighters on these splines and tell them where to go.
So there's no AI whatsoever going on.
There's no AI at all. No, it's just me pretending to be an animator.
So basically, the player who's really, really good can learn this 100%, right?
That is true.
Yeah. So if you want to get a gold, you just have to get absolutely perfect about it. Yeah. Paul, one of the main things everybody was joking about during the production was, of course, that everything is monochromatic. Is Star Wars really just gray and white?
Well, yes. No. I think that there is a theme that you hear about George talking about, which would be sort of earth tones for the good side and very sort of monochromatic grays and blacks for the Imperial side. So, you do sort of get this sort of Earth Mother symbolizing good. I think that computer games in general tend to be very, very saturated. And I think that that's one of the good things about what we're trying to do, is just be a little bit different than a lot of games, and try and make this a little bit more like movie special effects, which would be trying to go for something more photorealistic than stylized. Because I think people want to play the movie. And so I think that we've tried to make something that resembles the film, rather than necessarily just a video game of the film.
Which brings up the whole question of, or the story of the engine exhausts on the ships, which in the Space World demo were accurate to the movie,
but not necessarily dynamic for a game.
Yeah. Then they were dynamic for a game, with a huge petition of fans, an outcry of fans who wanted to have it like the movie.
Right. Well, and you're always telling me that it's a game, not a movie. So it's
So
yeah, strike that delicate balance.
Yeah.
It's a razor's edge that you gotta walk.
Hopefully, in the end, it's going to be that. Yeah.